look really cute right now. Just woke up from a nap, no makeup, giant pimple on my face. It's fine. I don't feel like getting ready just to do this because most of it is not going to be my face. But it is time for a new bookshelf tour because I moved, and I mean, my shelves are largely similar. They're just kind of moved around, but they're a little different actually. They're pretty different. What am I talking about? But it's like the same books. You get, I mean, whatever. People like these apparently. I don't know. Some people do. Some people don't. So let's get started with that. Lily also is here to assist. We just got to get Kuzma and we'll have the whole crew. This little one is going to observe and supervise. So I posted a picture of this on Twitter or Instagram or both. I don't know, but here's what the shelves look like generally. If you've been here for a minute, you know that I organize my shelves by genre, generally. No, always, right? Yeah, some of them, though, are kind of like mixed genres because I don't have enough of them. But yeah, that's generally how I do it. And I like to keep my shelves pretty tidy as far as not having a lot of knickknacks. I do have my Pushins, as you can see, and a couple other things. And I think it's super cute when people do have, like, all the cute bookmarks or all the Funko Pops or just whatever on their shelves. I think it's really cute, but like for me personally, in my own home, it just stresses me out and it feels cluttered. So I can't do it. So we will start over here on the far left. Over here is kind of a random shelf. This is kind of my whatever extra stuff shelf a little bit. Up top is the kind of general adult fiction, and then the couple of thrillers, which are all just Gillian Flynn. I keep debating whether or not I'm going to get all of those books in the same edition and keep them or not, because, I don't know, thrillers, like, I'm not a big thriller reader, and I'm certainly not a big thriller rereader, but I really like Gillian Flynn's writing, so I'll probably reread those at some point in the future. These three books on the left side, these Richard Paul Evans, I have debated also getting rid of just because I probably won't ever reread them, and he was accused, I think it was like proven to, like confirmed, of like harassing women at like writing conventions and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of that. But those books were gifts given to me by my best friend's mother when I was younger. She always would buy me books and write on the inside of them, encouraging me to keep writing. So they hold a little bit of sentimentality to them. So I will probably keep them. And then here we have where most of the Pusheen Funkos live. And then also my very small collection of graphic novels. And it will probably stay mostly this small until I get the other Cheese Sweet Home and until Monstrous is completed. I'm not a big graphic novel reader, but I do love those two series. And Watchmen, I reread it recently, and I didn't love it as much on the reread because I feel like that one's just one that doesn't impact quite the same on the reread. And then here is basically Sookie Stackhouse shelf, and I put other paranormal and vampire books here. And then Station 11 and The Left Hand of Darkness are just kind of random dystopians that are over here, like adult. Well, no, The Left Hand of Darkness isn't dystopian, though. It's just sci-fi. But I don't have a lot of sci-fi, so it just kind of got thrown in there. And then we have my bookmark collection, my custom one I had, and all these guys. Magnetic bookmarks are the way to go. And I was trying to collect all of the Sookie books in hardcover. I'm probably just gonna get, I don't even know if I'm gonna, I'll probably keep it. I don't even know. Honestly, we're not sure. A couple of Christopher Moore books. I've only read one Christopher Moore book years ago, like literally a decade ago. And I really enjoyed it, and then I just never read anymore. But I picked up, this is a trilogy, his like vampire trilogy, and I picked that up. So I just need to read it. This Leaning Tower is kind of random. Over here on the right is poetry and then short story collections, like adult literary kind of stuff. More poetry, see, it's all kind of just mishmashed in there. And then some of my childhood books. This little thing my mom got me. fairy tales, and then more fairy tales over here, and some like kid books. There's my Dragon and the Unicorn, Shel Silverstein, The Giving Tree, Amelia Hits the Road. I freaking loved this. It's like her journal, and she doodles in it, and it's like a road trip with her family. I loved that when I was a kid. And then my Jeanette Oke books, a few of them. It's like Christian Western, like fiction, and that's not my jam anymore at all. But man, when I was a kid, I loved those books, and I wrote Jeanette Oke a letter once, and she responded, and I was so happy. So I just keep those because of nostalgia. And then down here on the bottom is a bunch of reference books, like writing craft books. And then a couple of just kind of like the 5 love languages, apologizing like for couples, like relationship type stuff, emotional intelligence, some travel, nonfiction, and then some religion books, Siddhartha Dhammapada, philosophy books, and then Neil Gaiman Norse mythology, because I just threw it in there, and my collection of money from places I have visited around the world. And hanging out in the back there is my Gigantor complete works of Shakespeare. And moving over here, we have got some young adult contemporary and very limited new adult contemporary here, kind of right here. And one of my Pusheen plushes. Well, that's that. Not very many, because you know that contemporary isn't exactly my jam. Down here we have classics, and then my lore books, the 3 that I have currently, the dragons, fairies, and vampires. And a couple of things from my grandparents, glasses from my great-grandfather. This was my maternal grandfather's little knife. I think it's like a shaving knife, but I liked like this ivory looking, I don't think it's real ivory, but anyway, thing. And then patches from my paternal grandfather's, I think he was in the Navy, I don't know. And yeah, my little collection of classics. There's not a crap ton of them, but there's a few. And I don't know if Cloud Atlas like counts necessarily. Is it like a modern classic? I don't know. This is kind of just a random YA shelf. So clearly we have the Harry Potter books. You know, I never stand Harry Potter necessarily. I did love the movies. I mean, I still love the movies. I've seen the movies many, many times, but I never read the books until recently, except for the final book. So I have only read the first 4 books, which I own, and the final book. There's 3 books in the middle that I never read, and I was going to get the whole collection in this like edition, in this the UK paperbacks, because I just think they're so pretty. But I will not be continuing that collection at this time. But I'll probably just keep these just because, I don't know, I really like the covers. Like, they're just so pretty. And then quite a few here I haven't actually read. But yeah, they're just the ones that I have read that are on here. Like, these 2 I quite enjoyed, but they just didn't really fit over there. It's just kind of overflow of ones that aren't my faves, and then some that I just haven't even read. And then here we have children's kind of classics, but just kind of childhood books. I mean, these are newer, but they're all children's classics. The Barnes & Noble editions. Well, these aren't children's necessarily, the folk tales, but kinda. Laura Ingalls Wilder. I loved those books when I was a kid. My mom loved those books. Like, this edition of Farmer Boy was my mother's. So I just keep those. Out of the Dust. Also nostalgia. Where the Red Fern Grows. Railway Children, loved that. Island of the Blue Dolphins, and this Socks of Beverly Cleary. Why can't I talk? That was my mom's too. And then down here, a bunch more of my childhood books. These are like my chapter books that I had. And then over here on the right are some Christmas books. The Face on the Milk Carton. Oh, I loved that. Oh my God. Here on this middle one that has bowed shelves, it's fine. This is like some historical fiction and then a little bit of just adult, like literary, the Ian McEwan, basically. I don't know why, because literary fiction tends not to be my jam, but so far all the Ian McEwan books I've read, I have enjoyed pretty well. And then, yeah, some historical fiction stuff. I've read a few of these, haven't read. Devil in the White City isn't historical fiction, but it's like historical narrative nonfiction. It reads like fiction, so I put it here. And this book actually is overflow from over here because it's one of the books of that series that's in hardcover that I like. I just keep it because it's such a beautiful cover. My postcards from Pakistan, from Nashua. And this random ass bookmark I keep. I don't know why, because I never use it. Adult fantasy shelf. Michael J. Sullivan, Legends of the First Empire series. Just waiting on the last one, Age of Empire, to arrive. A couple of mass market paperbacks. The Amberlow dossier. Peace and Turmoil. And then Nevernight, which it's like adult technically, but kind of new adult, and I mean kind of young adult. I don't know. I got rid of God's Grave. I got rid of Dark Dawn. I did keep Nevernight just because it was the only one I had in paperback. I had the hardcover of the other two because I fucking pre-ordered both of them. Poor life choices. And I hated the ending, and I didn't really love God's Grave either. But I really honestly liked Nevernight enough where I could see myself rereading it and just like pretending like the other books didn't happen. And then some young adult fantasy and dystopian favorites. So it's mostly The Hunger Games and Cinda Williams' Chima. Whoopsie daisy. This series overall didn't end up being one of my favorites, but it has one of my favorite like books here in the middle of it. And it's the continuation of this series, which is one of my faves. So I just left it here, because why not? The Bells. Cannot wait for that third book to come out. I can't wait to see the cover. Like, these covers are just stupid, gorgeous, and I can't wait to see that third one. And then The Hunger Games. And down here is just Sarah J. Maas. I know there's going to be people that judge me. I don't give a fuck. And I put Throne of Glass like that just to make space, basically, or to take up space. But I do plan on getting the rest of that series of Throne of Glass in paperback as well. There's the 3 final books that I need to get in paperback. Once I do, I think they'll probably just fit there and take up that space. Because I'm a psycho, and when there's series that I know I'm going to reread, I like to have them in paperback for the rereads, but I like to have them in hardcover just to keep. And down here is my current Dear America collection, and then a series of Unfortunate Events. And I have 2 copies of The Bad Beginning, and it couldn't fit, so I just put it like that. That's why that's forward-facing. And I mean, this is going to have to change as soon as I get any new Dear America books. Because it's crammed right now and no more will fit, but I definitely plan on continuing that collection. And here we have the Wuthering Heights collection, as well as a series of Unfortunate Events. Wow, Joshana. Cemetery of Forgotten Books series, which are not in order. I just put them on there. And those are like historical fiction, sort of part of its modern times, though. I don't know. It's an adult series. And I just didn't have anywhere else to put it, basically. It wouldn't fit over here, so I put it here. And then down here, we have some more adult fantasy, just kind of random ones. And then my sign and a couple more Pushins. I put the Pushina Corns here. Oh, whoops, sorry, guy. So we have the Parasol Protectorate series, which is adult paranormal. And then my Antoine Bandele, which are adult fantasy based on and inspired by African folklore and mythology. Very huge world. These are both actually the first books in different series, but they're in the same world. And it's like an enormous world. It's super cool. And yeah, these other random ones. The Night Circus, I really didn't know where to put. It's been a while since I read it. I think it's fantasy, right? I effing know, honestly. And Sarah J. Maas, this one just wouldn't fit with the other Sarah J. Maas books, which is fine since it's just, it's alone for now. And here are some more young adult fantasies. These ones are kind of more my favorites. Jane Steele is not fantasy, though. Actually, I should specify that. But yeah, the Conqueror Saga, again, the hardcovers, and then the paperbacks for when I reread. Grishaverse. I need to reread. I've been saying that for like a fucking year, but I really do need to reread that to see how I still feel about it, because I'm not real sure. The Dark, I think this is called Dark Gifts series. It's pretty good. It's like a dystopian with magic and stuff. Renthia, which y'all know I really loved. And then The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, and randomly fucking Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm gonna keep it for now, but I might honestly fucking unhaul that thing. And the Game of Thrones shelf, which is slightly different from how it was before. Before I had, I think I had Fire and Blood like laying down horizontally, and I had World of Fire and Ice, or World of Ice and Fire on top of it. But this shelf isn't like tall enough, so it is what it is. And then down here we have nonfiction, my Audrey Hepburn books over here in this side, some memoirs and biographies, autobiographies, and then just kind of general nonfiction. There's a couple missing because White Fragility I'm going to be talking about soon, and I also have, what other ones that should go over here? White Rage, Women, Race, and Class, and I'm no longer talking to white people about race. So, yeah, there's that. And there we have it, the overview of the shelves. And that's all I got for you. Thanks for stopping by. Talk to you guys later. Adios.